Hello from Retiro Park in Madrid, España. This is my first day in Europe, so I'm not going to lie. I've been a bit of a zombie walking around the city, going to Museo Prado, which was unbelievable. The scale there is on another level. There's so many massive murals and cool sculptures and beautiful paintings to look at there. It's pretty overwhelming, especially when you're brain dead after flying overseas and only sleeping 3 hours just about. Got a little espresso and I've persevered to push through to the evening to better calibrate and get over jet lag faster. But overall, it's been nice walking around. I've been on foot the entire time. The streets are beautiful, beautiful architecture as expected in a place like Madrid, and didn't really record anything in the Prado Museo because it is prohibited. So no film there, but overall there's just a lot to take in there. And with a museum like that, I think less is more, just trying to process a few pieces and really try to use them as portals for the past and try to process, and try to imagine what life was like hundreds of years ago. It's always nice to have comparison points, especially when you're in Europe and walking around and surrounded by beautiful architecture. But yeah, just trying to stay cool. Walking through the park. I will also walk through the botanical gardens, which are beautiful, and gonna just finish taking a stroll here and then head back to where I'm staying, and gonna take a couple calls for work and go to bed pretty early tonight so I can sleep in, rest up, and hopefully have a good day tomorrow as well. Hello, it is day 2 in both Madrid and Europe. Yesterday was quite a productive day, despite the fact that I was coming off 3 hours of sleep on the flight over. Still managed to get a couple hours of work done, eat a lot of good food, go through Plaza Mayor, went to Mercado San Miguel, which is beautiful, by the way. There's so many cool little tapas to try out. I did not try any yesterday, but I'll definitely be back today. Really nice walking around. Went to Retiro Park and a few other places. Went to the Prado Museo, and then I'm going to check out a couple more museums today. And overall, just really positive sentiments, but I will say that it was pretty challenging to be fully present and take everything in properly. Coming off a little sleep, I felt like a zombie and just not mentally clear. And that's something I've really tried to prioritize as I've gotten older when I'm generally traveling. Trying to prioritize sleep so that I can be present, so that I can take everything in and that I can process what's going on, right? Back when I was younger, especially like when I studied abroad, when I was 21, I was drinking my way through Europe, and now, my intentions are a little bit different. But obviously, jet lag is very real, so that you can only do so much. I'm glad that I was still able to make the most of it. I even worked for a couple hours, so that was great. But yeah, I'm gonna get a little quick workout in, excited for another good day. That workout felt very good. Now I'm definitely ready to take on the day. Yesterday, overall, I really liked Madrid. Like I said, it's kind of hard walking around with such little sleep because just not much was going on in my head. But now I got the endorphins rushing, probably gonna get a little bite to eat. I did have some eggs at the hostel. I stopped by the supermarket just to get some eggs and avocado. Personally, I don't really love eating out for breakfast just since it's pretty expensive usually, just for eggs or pancakes or something. I find that the last couple of days it's been much more pleasant walking around early in the morning, not just because it's cooler, but late night it was absolutely packed walking around. It was popping, and the sun doesn't really set until like 9:30, something like that. I mean, I was in bed at before then, 9:20, because I needed it. But it's interesting in Spanish culture how everything happens a little bit later. I mean, granted, in the afternoon, it's pretty hot. Luckily, I spent some time in Texas to help warm me up to be able to tolerate this. But dinner time is super late. I think the hostel I'm currently staying at is called One Fam Sungate, and really solid spot. But they had included dinner that was at 9 p.m., which is a little bit later than I'm used to eating. But it's cool to see the differences relatively, especially in knowing that given how hot it is, it's a lot more conducive to taking a siesta in the afternoon to escape from the heat and then going back out later in the night. currently on Gran Via, which is one of the busy streets here in Madrid. I went to this breakfast spot. I guess it's just like a general little cafe, healthy restaurants, and fantastic. If you're looking for some coffee and a healthy meal in general, I cannot recommend it enough. And honestly, it's always just relieving to find that you can find healthy food just about anywhere. And it's just about putting in a little bit of effort. But especially whenever you're hanging around like touristy areas, it's not very conducive for eating healthy. And I also understand that, like, if you aren't traveling and you're on vacation, maybe that's not the priority. In my case, it's a little bit different since I'm living internationally for the foreseeable future. So I generally just want to prioritize, feeling good, feeling mentally clear, like I said earlier, so I can just be present and just process and make the most of this experience, and just trying to learn about the cultures that I'm in and the things that I'm doing, and just kind of like understanding the rhythms of life. I mean, that's something I've been particularly excited for, is just taking it easy and just observing, seeing how we all, live slightly differently in different places, but ultimately care about the same things. Today I went to the Tyson Museum, spent a couple hours there, 3 floors, so much to see there, from I think it was like 13th century up to 20th century, so a lot of different time periods of European history and Spanish history. It was a lot more pleasant walking around now that I'm a little bit more well rested, and had a double espresso before, stopped by a coffee shop, read a little bit, just started The Alchemist, and so far feels very relevant for wandering around Europe for the next couple months. Speaking of wandering around, just been, like I said, I've been walking around nonstop, and that quote comes to mind, that not all who wander are lost. And in leaving Denver and my life there, I really didn't feel like I was escaping anything, and I really enjoyed my life in Denver. And so in making the decision to come and travel solo, first in Europe and then hopefully in Asia in September, I am really just wanting to keep things as open-ended as I can. Normally when I travel to places, I have a very specific intention, say for like a ski trip. I went to Big Sky earlier this year, and I knew that I was going there to ski, spend time with friends, etc. And I am doing a lot of travel with others over the course of the next couple months. But in a lot of these opportunities to solo travel, I want to just let things come to me and just process what's in front of me, just listen, just people watch, be open to connections. Frankly, the last couple of days in the hostel, I have talked to quite a few people, but haven't gone out of my way to socialize, just because I've been around people a lot for the last 4 to 8 weeks. So need a little alone time to just decompress, and just been journaling a lot, just so many thoughts going on in my mind. But all that to say that there's a lot of value in opening space for yourself, especially in the uncertainty of what that value will bring, and giving yourself space so that you can process both consciously and subconsciously. So that's something I'm definitely looking forward to during these travels, is just opening up space and just seeing what comes of it as I, learn more about the world, and therefore learn about myself. Especially at this point in life, I would think that I know myself fairly well at 28 after doing a lot of self-reflection, a lot of self-development, but I'm sure inevitably after I'm done, or as this travel progresses, I will learn quickly that there's still, a lot to learn, and that'll always be the case. I guess I should probably share a little bit more about what I've been up to today as well. I went back to Retiro, Parque, and I went to a little art exhibit there that was close to the Crystal Palace. That park is just beautiful. It's really green, nice to walk around, nice to relax in. Now I've walked over to the Royal Palace. The lines to get in are super long, and I'm not too keen on waiting to get in there, but I did go to the cathedral next door, which is absolutely stunning. It's gorgeous, so large, very well adorned. And now, I'm basically doing a full circle around the city. I walked through a bunch of different neighborhoods, and now I'm going to walk back to the center. I've been trying to walk through shade to stay cool, and I just gonna go back, probably do a little bit of work, take it easy, come back out for a light dinner, and probably go to bed pretty early to get an early start tomorrow as well. Also, I think some helpful context to share is that in terms of my mindset with the activities I'm doing in Madrid, is that given that I'll be in Europe for the next 2 months, I'm really just treating this as opportunity to settle in and calibrate. So I'm not really trying to rush too much. Mostly just been trying to walk around and use this as time to get my head straight and not really focus on really doing too much. I mean, I've been eating some good food. Honestly, not that much Spanish food, but I'm about to be in Sevilla after this too. So I'll get plenty of opportunities to eat tapas, especially because I'll be with friends in Sevilla. So I feel like tapas will be more fun with friends than solo. So I've kind of just been eating a little bit of everything. But yeah, really just treating this as time to kind of come into my own headspace during these travels. Hello, good morning. This is day 3 and my last full day in Madrid. I am sitting outside of the Museo Prado. Behind me in this green space that's in between the 2 streets here. Remember, I walked through here the last 3 days because I went to the Museo Prado day 1, the Tyson Museum yesterday, and I came out here because I'm about to go to the Reina Sofia, the 3rd art museum of the Golden Triangle. As you might tell, I really enjoy art museums while traveling because I think it's a good way to understand different perspectives in a given place that you're in, especially if you're visiting another culture. So like in the Tyson Museum, there's a lot of Spanish art, which is interesting to see, but I mean, in the Museo Prado, there's so much art across all of European history. So especially as I adjust to being in Europe, it was nice to prompt myself with those perspectives. And I mean, there's a lot to see, so I think it was overwhelming for sure, but I think it's helpful just to get in the frame of mind and just to see like what you resonate towards and what you're able to process as a result. But anyways, yeah, I'm just sitting out here. I'm about to go to the Reina Sofia. Went to a little coffee shop and did a little reading. I wanted to share a thought from this book I'm reading, The Alchemist, which is a really short read. It's about a boy who's traveling and embarks on an adventure to search for treasure. And there's this quote that really stuck out in which it says something along the lines of, when you want something, the entire universe conspires to help you get it, something along those lines. And while that may or may not necessarily be true, I think what's helpful from that quote is thinking about having an internal locus of control, knowing that life is chaotic, it's dynamic, there's so many variables that are dictating the flow of our day-to-day, but having that stoic philosophy of what can you do in any given situation to better regulate yourself, to be able to better handle adversity, and to ultimately be able to better curate your experience to align with what you ultimately want. So in my experience right now, solo traveling, there's this delicate balance of going with the flow, processing what's around me, but then having my intentions of figuring out how do I want to spend this time. And I have some general intentions of wanting to explore new cultures and seek new experiences and understand new places and see new places and see natural landscapes, but also be able to open up space to see what comes to me as well. But I think it's a good reminder that having an internal locus of control ultimately helps you to be more proactive, to reflect and understand what you really care about so that you can make decisions in accordance with that and to be able to move forward in alignment with what you value. So I think it's relevant at all aspects of life, whether you're traveling, whether you're trying to get a new job, whether you're trying to set up yourself for the future. So I want to share that thought. Hello, it's day 3 in Madrid to close out my trip here. I'm going out to Sevilla tomorrow to meet up with some friends and just want to take a moment to share some appreciation for this great city. I spent the day at the Reina Sofia Museum to complete the art triangle here, having done the Museo Prado day one and the Tyson Museum yesterday. I will say that doing 3 museums in 3 days is absolutely sensory overload, but it was worth it. There's so much beautiful art in there with a lot of history, a lot of context, a lot of cool perspectives, a lot of work from Dali and Picasso and all these other Spanish artists. That was really helpful for me to, I will say I felt like I was pulled in a lot of different directions, but it prompted a lot of personal reflection and journaling, which, like I mentioned before, I'm really trying to cultivate some space for myself so that I can reflect and be able to process my life and, bring clarity to different areas going forward. And especially in spending more time alone these last few days and just walking around the city, it's been nice to journal a lot and just to process and getting a lot of value out of that. But also reading a lot, just going to a bunch of coffee shops, walking a ton. My feet are definitely feeling it in a good way. But yeah, just a lot of gratitude for experiencing the city, some beautiful green spaces. I didn't even mention I'm at the Templo of Dedod right now, or the Temple of Dedod, which is cool. It was a gift by the Egyptians. And it was an old temple from 200 BC that was rebuilt here. It's pretty beautiful, nice spot for sunset, even though the sunset doesn't set till like 10 p.m. right now. But yeah, just a great cosmopolitan city, a lot of good food, aside from just tapas, just so much diversity in food. I did not crush many tapas because I'm about to meet up with friends over the next few days, so I will be eating more tapas then. But yeah, I've been eating a bunch of other food and just really appreciated my time here. Hopefully we'll be back at some point. It's a beautiful big city, a lot of energy, a lot of people, a lot of places to walk, and just a lot of appreciation. So hope you enjoyed my experience or watching my experience here, and hope you have a great day. Take care. Okay, last stop for real this time. Not only is the Temple of Dedod a very cool space in general to observe the ruins and for sunset, but the park area is also gorgeous. There's a lot of greenery around here, a lot of benches, a lot of trees to sit under. So if you're looking for a nice place to read and relax or just hang out and have a picnic, this would definitely be one of them, as well as Parque, Retiro, and there's a ton of them throughout the city, but would definitely put this one up there. So, all right, with that being said, goodbye for real this time, and hopefully see you in the next one. Peace.